My name is Kelsey Kvandal, and I will be reading Invention by Chang. Okay, here it goes. On an island, an open road, where an animal has been crushed by something larger than itself. It is mangled by 4 o'clock light, soul, sour sweet, intestines flattened and raked by the sun, eyes still savage. This landscape of Taiwan looks like a body, black and blue. On its coastline, mussels have cracked, their faces on rocks, clouds collapse onto tiny houses, and just now a monsoon has begun. It reminds me of a story my father told me. He once made the earth not in 7 days, but in one. His steely joints wielded lava and water, and mercy in great ionic perfection. He began the world, hammering the length of trees like a war of families, trees which fumbled for grand gesture. The world began in an explosion of fever and rain. He said, "Your body came out of floating. I was born in the middle of monsoon season, palm trees tearing the tin roofs. Now, as I wander to the center of the island, no one will speak to me. My dialect left somewhere in his pocket, in a nursery book, a language of child's play. Everything unfurls. In pictures, soil is washed from the soles of feet. A woman runs toward her weeping son. Chicken bones float in a pot full of dirty water. I return to the animal on the road. When I stoop to look at it, smells of trash, rotting vegetation, the pitiful tongue, claws curled tight to its heart, eyes open, eyes open. When the world began in the small factory of my father's imagination, he never spoke of this gnarled concoction of bone and blood. This is nothing like the wonder, but just the opposite, something simply ravaged. He would die soon after the making of the world. I would go on waking, sexing, mimicking enemies. I would go on coaxing, by gravity and hard science, while he rests in the satin of his shriveled skin, eyes swollen to exquisite planets." Okay. I read this poem multiple times, like 8 to 10, and could not figure out a meaning or anything from it. And then in one of the readings, I noticed that your is capitalized when it's like in the middle of a sentence. And like I've seen that done in like different religious texts where it says when they talk about God, like his would be capitalized. And then she also talks about her father, and I don't see that as being like a paternal father, more of a godly father. So then as I like started reading it with that mindset, it seemed like she sees this thing dead in the road and is like, it kind of reminds her of her religion and kind of brings her back to that. And like the creation of the world and how something so small as like an animal being dead can create this like chain of events and just kind of make everything, like put everything into perspective about how like after like the world was made, that maybe like her God didn't intend for or I guess think about the negative side of things, like the when she says, when the world began in the small factory of my father's imagination, he never spoke of this gnarled concoction of bone and blood. So maybe like it wasn't something that was necessarily thought of or maybe like told to her. She's just kind of experiencing it as she goes along. and this is her first, like, seeing this animal dead on the side of the road, kind of shows her, like, what, like, a negative side of life that she might not, like, have necessarily noticed before. I guess, like, the rest of it, I'm not necessarily sure how to interpret. Like, the, but, like, when she says my dialect left somewhere in his pocket in a nursery book, a language of child's play, it almost seems like maybe she's forgotten where she's came from and, like, what she's supposed to believe in, so seeing this is bringing it back to her. But, yeah, that's my brief interpretation of this poem. Hope I didn't completely miss the